Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Oh my God. Good morning, Bill.
Oh, a little technical issue again this morning, Peter.
Cameras,
this morning.
Microphone, other microphone, recording, airplane mode.
No,
Lights,
it's
camera.
old guys meet millennials. That's what it is.
Yeah, but we learned so much already. I'm getting there.
Episode number 228, Private Money for Creative Real Estate Deals. Secrets, rules, and pitfalls revealed and unleashed.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ever have the desire to create an army of private lenders who cling to you in your deals? Or wonder how to find all the money you need to buy your creative real estate deals? Maybe you are stuck on the bank versus hard money, or how about private money?
Yeah.
What is the difference anyways? This podcast will not only explain all of this, but will start to form a mini blueprint in your mind on how you will never have to worry about funding your creative real estate deals ever again, and stop being a money patsy.
Money patsy. Oh, I got no money. I got no money. You got any money? I got no money. Yeah, you keep saying that. Hey, keep saying I got no money. See how that works for you. I got no money. Repeat it. I got no money. See how that works for you. I got money. I got money. Try that one instead. Sorry.
Learn what to say to these lenders so they start chasing you instead of you chasing them. Done this way, you can get immediate results and crush it while making deals as they come your way. In this episode, you'll gain the psychological process lenders go through in their minds, so when you start talking to them, it is almost like a hypnotic trance and irrefutable to turn your deal down. That is if you do it correctly. So let's dig in and let me show you what I mean.
I like that part. Like, would you say, like, get into their heads, see what they're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're always thinking what we're thinking. Like, I need some money. Hey, can you give me some money? That doesn't work. Hey, I'm going to have to go over there and get my tea because I'm tealess. You keep talking. I'll be right back. I'm just here.
Desiree says, wow, was just thinking about how I'm going to start trying to raise some private money. So this is like, she's all excited.
Yeah, good.
She's all excited.
Yeah, I met her Saturday. We got together, did a little work, and met her. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a bunch of deals working from that. We did the deal quest last Saturday where I got a bunch of my coaching clients together, and we were in a room, COVID protocol in place, more or less.
Yeah.
And we got on the phone and we just called and called. Actually, I did most of the talking. All we did. I was worried that we weren't going to have enough leads. All we did was just go on Facebook and start looking for deals on Facebook, and there were like there was maybe 8 of us there, Peter.
Yep.
And we ended up pulling. I think we ended up pulling 3 deals or 3 appointments out of it, and I'm still working on those deals. But it gave me enough phone calls for almost 6 hours. Just on Facebook.
We just had to stop because you got tired.
Yeah, I was wasted.
Yeah, but
I was wasted.
They're there. I think I learned something like sometimes you worry about not having too many leads.
Yeah.
And things dry up sometimes. So I think I came up with this inverse ratio proportion law that the less leads you might.
Doggy, what was that? Inverse what?
Inverse proportion equation formula.
Ratio dog.
That's right. No, seriously, without the funny words, like if you don't have too many leads at any one given time in your area, spend more time doing what you talked about last podcast, like be more human. Talk to them. If there's tons of leads, you can send texts and just wait for somebody to say, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. But you did such a good job, and like you were like less than 2 hours to get an appointment. Less than 2 hours to get an appointment. Less than 2 hours, get an appointment.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah. Nice. All right, good. So let's do a little bit of housework here before we get started. So wherever you found this podcast, there's a description there. If you look inside the description, there's a link there that gets you 25 plus free things like scripts and videos and training, and there's even a free course in there. All kinds of stuff. There's a bunch of free stuff there to help you with creative real estate. It's all the things that we talk about for 227, now 228 episodes that will help you find deals, talk to customers, do the math, deal structuring, all kinds of crazy stuff there for free. So just click on that link. It'll send you right over to our page, and you just pick and choose what you would like. Okay?
Wait a minute, how much you say it cost? How much was it?
Free.
Come on.
Free.
Nothing's free.
We've been doing this for a long time. That's why I can give it away. Hey, I make my money with real estate, you know. I make money doing this with coaching in some of my courses, but it's not enough to replace my income. No. The other thing is that we live stream today. We're doing it on a Wednesday because I have a funeral I have to go to tomorrow. But normally we do it on a Thursday. So I want to shout out for all of you guys that in the WhatsApps, because we have a free WhatsApp that people can go on and talk real estate. That's for free, and then of course I have a WhatsApp group for the deal hunting monthly mastery guys, and then of course where I started all this was there's a WhatsApp for my private coaching clients, which they get an overwhelming amount of help when they're in the coaching group. But I put in my chat, in all three of those chats yesterday, that my mother-in-law passed away. So I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. I just want to shout out to all you guys that sent your condolences to me. I really appreciate it. She was pretty ill, and it was time for her to go anyways, but it's still sad. And just struggling through the part with my wife and her sisters has been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. And I just appreciate all the people that have reached out to me in my group and sent their condolences. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to publicly say thank you, which I've said 3 times. Okay. Mm-hmm. Also, I was starting to say that on Thursday mornings, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, with the exception of this morning, we live stream on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. I don't think we've ever had a Twitter user here, so I'm not sure about that. Although I got to tell you, just a little personal thing, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I was surprised to see the guy that owns Twitter on the news. You know, just to see what he looks like. I'm like,
oh my
wow.
God.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat.
No, that's not the word I had in mind.
Yeah, it's not what I had in mind
No.
either.
If I
nothing
saw him
wrong
on the
with
street,
it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not like there's nothing.
No, excuse me. He looks creepy, and he does creepy things. There's something wrong with the guy. No, you're gonna find out.
There, Peter
bullshit.
said it.
Forget it. If I saw him on the street, I'd cross the street. Come on, wait till you find out. Watch the next couple months what happens. Something's very wrong here, folks.
Yeah.
This is how it slips out of your fingers, inch by inch. Watch yourselves.
Yeah.
By the way, Bill, what day are we doing the podcast next week?
Oh, next week Thanksgiving. We're gonna have to do a Wednesday again next week. Shit, I forgot about that. So yeah,
hey,
okay.
Just do my job.
We're 9 minutes in. Let's get down to business because people aren't here to hear all this stuff. So, anyways, all my point is you can go to Facebook, you can go to Twitter, and you can go to YouTube, and we're there, so you can watch us on whatever favors channel. And obviously, Thursday we record, and then Emma gets a hold of the video and does her magic, and then uploads it to all of the podcast stations for Monday. So on Monday, you can go listen to the podcast. And of course, you can go to flippinghouses4rookies.com/podcast, and all the episodes are there. You can listen there. So, all right. So, Pete, I'm going to need to start with an apology first.
Okay.
I'm sorry to keep saying this over and over and over again, but it's so important, I just can't help myself.
Oh, well. All right, we'll deal with it, Bill, somehow.
The words you use each and every day can set you free, especially with sellers, buyers, and lenders. The words you use each and every day can set you free. Now, I could go the opposite way, because they can also put you in the trap.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, I need money, I need money, I need money. Those are words that are putting you in the trap. Instead of, I have all the places in the world to get money, and I'm going to make a deal. Right? The words that you tell yourself, you tell your friends, you tell your wife, you tell your husband, you tell your kids, you tell your family, you tell your mother, the words you use each and every day can set you free, especially with sellers, buyers, and lenders in real estate. The best way to raise money for your real estate deals is knowing how to ask the right questions and answer correctly with potential lenders. So we talked about this last week. I took a stab at this last week, which was not my best performance, I guess, because I think it was too profound, and I'm not sure I articulated it enough. But it's not just about asking questions, especially when you're talking to a seller. You know, you have to answer the questions. You have to acknowledge people so they know you got it, right? So that is as important, or if not more important, than the questions. But you do have to ask the right questions to at least get in the right arena. You know what I mean? Remember Monty Hall, door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, right? On a Price is Right. You know, so when you ask the question, you're trying to figure out which door to go in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And your private lender is the same way. So just to kind of, I'm off script here, but just to kind of give you a gist of this, okay? When you're hunting for funds, it's like hunting for sellers. You're going to talk to more people that will say no than people that will say yes. So when you're pre-screening for a deal, pre-screening for lenders for a deal, you need to know what to say almost immediately. You know, it's like I was doing some marketing for some chiropractors, and I saw this consultant one time, right? And it was the coolest thing in the world, because he would teach his doctors when you met somebody, you would shake their hand, right? It's common, you would shake somebody's hand. And he would look him in the eye and he would say to him, how you feeling today? And that was his pre-qualifier on, like, did he just talk chit-chat and get the hell out of there, or did he, like, do his pitch?
That's a loaded question, huh?
Right. So it's what marketers call the tripwire.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that one. Tripwire.
Kind of like, you know, military in the jungle, and there's a wire across the path that sets off the bomb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or the landmine. Okay? So the best way to raise money for your real estate deals is knowing how to ask the right questions and answer correctly with potential lenders. Your words should be organized and easy to understand, should be concise and convincing all at once. So your words should be organized, easy to understand, concise, and convincing. That's the magic formula.
So it sounds like you have to have that a bit prepared in advance, not just winging it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm going to get some paper. Because, you know, I tried some private money lending a while back, and I didn't do so hot. And I think you just helped me, because you have to ask more than a few people. I got shot down by the first few. I think I realized I was asking the wrong people. But then I didn't need it, because we did some owner financing. You got some funds, so I've been okay. But I have some things coming up, and I think we might be busy soon. So I should give it another stab. So I'm going to take some notes.
Okay.
I need some better questions.
Okay.
So I'm listening.
Good. So to be honest, if you're not highly successful in raising money for your deals, it is most likely because of one of these two things. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're paying too much, or have problems in the deal in scaring the money away. And most of the time, you don't even know it because you think it's a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Yeah.
number two, your words are not good enough or convincing enough to create confidence with your lender that their capital is not going to be safe while under your watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to read those again, okay?
Yep.
So if you're not raising funds, in other words, you have a deal and you're shopping around for funds, it's probably one of these two things. And I would say definitely, but I'm going to just be politically correct and say probably one of these two things.
Mm-hmm.
You are paying too much or have problems in the deal and scaring money away and often don't know it.
Yeah.
Or two, your words are not good enough or convincing enough to create confidence with your lender that their capital is not going to be safe while under your watch.
Yep. Because they have to be confident. They have to be sure.
Yeah, exactly. More
I
to the
think-
point, go ahead.
I think the first thing us rookies make as a mistake is offering them a lot of interest or something like that.
Yeah, we're
but-
going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's so. The deal itself is more important, huh?
Yeah. More to the point, not knowing where to get funds to purchase real estate deals keeps a lot of people out of this extremely, extremely lucrative business.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, costs them financial freedom.
Yep.
But before we discuss where and how to get these funds, let's discuss what we would do if we did have these funds.
Say it if we did or didn't.
If we did.
Okay.
So let's say we have this chunk of dough. You got $1 million. What would you do with it? We need to talk about that first, right?
Yeah. You think you could go wrong with $1 million? You could go very wrong with $1 million.
So first thing is we wouldn't buy pretty or attractive houses in nice neighborhoods, right? Priced at full value and pay all cash for those houses, right?
No.
My buddy, Mr. Ron LeGrand, says the one thing that you need to do, when you buy a house is get equity. The day you buy a house, you should have equity. Now, the only place that we don't do that is in a slot deal, but we're not going to get equity. We're going to create it, but we
Right.
know where it is. So the better statement, if I had to reword that myself, is the day you buy a property, you better know where to get your equity.
Okay.
You better know how to get it. Right? You better know where it is.
Yeah.
That's the better way to say it. You better know where it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to buy pretty houses for full price in pretty neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, these sellers, with no apologies of the neighborhood or the house condition, don't need to discount or wait for their dough. I mean, I don't know if you've been following since the event. I mean, I've been recording. We last Saturday had this deal hunting event or deal quest event that I was talking about, and I'm kind of on this quest to get some of my coaching clients that haven't had a deal since at least COVID, and some of them before, right? Haven't had a deal, so I'm like doing their deals for them, which is ridiculously stupid because I have my own deals and I'm really busy. But I want these coaching clients to do something. So I've been out. I've been on 3 appointments already this week, and I have another one on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out doing the presentations, and because they're in Connecticut, right? And I'm just like jump starting these guys. So my point is that I've been recording everything. I always record everything anyways, but I've been uploading them to Slack, which is what we use for the coaching group, right? So I don't know if you've listened to any of those, Peter. But I had one yesterday where I had a coaching client send me. Actually, we tried to call this guy on a Monday night, because when we do the Monday night coaching call, if you have a lead and it's set up, I will call while we're on the coaching call and actually call the client in the middle of the coaching call and try to put the deal together, right?
Yep.
And to help the coaching client. So these are my private coaching clients. So we called Monday night, and he wanted to have his partner on the phone and all that. The long story that I'm turning this into is really about how the guy has a house that's pretty. He put a bunch of money into it. He owes 60 grand on it. Actually, no, he doesn't. He doesn't owe anything on it, and he's asking 225 and think the market's 289, and technically the market is like 250. And he just wants all cash. He's like, why would I sell to you on terms when I could, like, he's got a pretty house, he's got it in a pretty neighborhood, and he's got a tenant paying him $1,900 a month.
Yep.
So really, I mean, his first question when he got on the phone with me, which is because my coaching client talked to him first and didn't handle the objection, his first question was, why would you want this deal? How are you going to make your money? And that's a reasonable thing to ask.
Yeah.
You know, so right away, based on what I'm telling you, it's a pretty house in a pretty neighborhood. He has no apologies. He doesn't have any pressure on him at all.
Yep.
You know, his thing is because I said to him, what are you going to do with the money? If you get to, he wants 200,000 in cash or something. I hit him at 201. He wants 215 or something like that. I'm like, so what do you do with the cash? Where are you going to go and get, $1,200-$1,300 a month return?
Yeah.
Because by the time he pays the taxes and insurance, that's how much he's getting on the free and clear house. He's like, I'll just go buy another house, which doesn't make sense to me.
He's already got one.
He's already got one, but yeah, so.
At least you should buy a 2-family.
Right. Right.
Double it.
So the first lesson that we have here is that we are not paying all cash for these pretty houses in pretty neighborhoods without financing or some emotional problem to solve these problems, right? These sellers can use the current realtor system to gain their objective on selling.
Yep.
Now, realize that one of the things that we run into, or one of the problems that they're trying to solve, is they don't want to pay the realtor fees.
Right.
Because most people don't know that it costs 12 to 15% to sell a house. So once they figure that out, minimally they think that it's 6%. Most people think the cost to sell a house is the 5 or 6% to the realtor, and the $700 or $800 for the lawyer. They think that's the closing cost, and it's not even close to that, right?
I mean, there's already the conveyance fee, the tax that the state or the city want just to do the deal. Like, we want some money. There's always that. It's not optional.
Well, when I talk to sellers, the first thing I ask them is when you bought this house, did you just give them full asking price without asking them for a discount?
I like how you ask questions that just put the person in our shoes and have him be honest with himself. I love how you do that.
Yeah.
You're not fighting with you. You say, well, what would you do? And, you wouldn't do it, so why ask me? I love when you do that. That's smart.
Right. Thank you.
And it's just a perspective, because I've seen a lot of questions come from sellers or buyers to me or somebody, gee, what am I supposed to say? And that's almost like a backfall. If nothing else comes to mind, just ask, well, would you do it? And
Right.
it just handles so many kind of dumb questions or situations. It's like, I had a guy once, he wanted to sell me his condo for $500,000. It was a regular condo worth maybe $2 million. It's like, that would be a good question. Like, would you buy it at that price? It would have ended the conversation, because it was stupid.
Well, they're going to say yes.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to be a wise ass and say yes.
Yeah, well then keep it.
So, no, the next question is, well, can you make money doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, is your $500,000 going to make you a rate of return? Is that smart investing, or is that like passionate investing?
Yeah.
All right, so if you want to seek the troubled or motivated sellers, you have a better chance of getting monthly payments until paid off, or a deep discount. And I call deep discount at least 20%. Often it's 20 to 50%. Now, Pete, there is no way no way that I could get our listeners to 100% agree with me or completely get the magnitude of what I just said, except you. At this particular point, you are the only person that knows all. You decide to leave my little gangsta, and I'm gonna have to whack you. You know too much. Okay? And I'm teasing with it, but seriously, I mean, you see the deals that I do. I mean, 50% is common with me. 50% is common with me. I mean, I'm closing. I was supposed to close on Monday. They're closing tomorrow, but I'm closing on a deal that's $270,000. I paid $125 for it.
Yeah.
The guy's bringing $35,000 to the closing table.
Yeah. And I was in that. I've seen the house with you. I called the guy, got some information, fed it back to you, watched what you did with it, and that's the numbers. That's the facts.
Yeah.
It's right here in Connecticut. It's a fact.
And I do that. I mean, the end of last year. We bought a $200,000 house. I paid $37.5 for it. 27.5. Yeah.
Yeah. We wrote a check for that one. We had enough sitting around like, write a check.
Right.
Keep the interest.
So
It was that low.
I'm not saying that every deal of mine is like that, but if I'm going to pay cash, you know, my wife teases me because she says it's your way or the highway, and yep, that's how it works around here. You know, I mean, I'm not going to get off onto that. You can't make decisions with committees. There has to be somebody to make a decision, and I'm that guy. I'm that guy with my family. I'm that guy with my business. I make the decisions. So I have to do what's right. Now, do you need 10 of those a year? No, you only need 1 or 2 to make the year. You know what I mean? This is how I traveled 40 weeks a year and had my daughter running my business and made 125 grand a year doing deals. I only needed to do 2 or 3 deals in the year to make that kind of money. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
when you say like you want at least 20%, it sounds to me like you're talking about a pretty house that doesn't need renovation, and the 50% is more when they need the renovation or less?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it varies. I mean, I do funny things. I mean, I talk about the deal that I bought, the Subject 2 deal, the last one I just recently bought, where the house was worth $179 and it needed $15,000 in repairs, and I paid $191.
Yeah.
But I got $750 a month in positive cash flow, and I got $12,000 up front.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is the bottom line, the final numbers. It's just the whole picture. You look at that, and if there's money, you can do it. You can break a formula a little bit, because one part of it is kind of like a triangle, like how much money. Well, money now, money monthly, money later. If you're getting any one of those really, really big, it's not terrible, especially when someone's writing it up front and someone's already monthly.
Here's the thing, Peter. What you just said is that in that triangle.
Yeah.
I don't see it the way you guys see that triangle. I have a different use for that triangle. That completely has nothing to do, technically, with money at all.
Oh yeah.
So I look at that triangle and I look at how much time am I going to put in this deal.
Right.
And that triangle tells me if it's money, if it's just money now and it's $5,000, well, this deal's going to get secondary time.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm going to get a deal like I'm talking about right now with this Subject 2 that I'm talking about, where I'm making $750 a month, it's got money now, money monthly, money later. Right. You know, very often, and I don't talk about this a lot either, but very often when I pull money for my deals, like this $125,000 house, I'll pull 5, 7, maybe 10 grand out of it that I'll keep.
Yeah, you borrow a little
money
more.
now. As money now.
Yeah.
And still have a shit ton of money on the back end.
Yep.
Right? And that's the glory of doing what we're talking about. So we're totally off topic. So let's get back on topic. So sometimes you can actually find these bargains and pass them on to bargain hunters. Right? This doesn't require purchase funds because the buyer will bring the funds to the closing table to fund the deal. Mm-hmm. You just get a fee for matchmaking the seller with the bargain hunter, and the bargain hunter brings the funds. We call this wholesaling, of course. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So let's discuss. So that's wholesaling. So that's one way to do it. That's what most other gurus teach. Rah, 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 right?
Yeah, they make it look so easy to a million people.
Right.
All running around.
So basically, you need to understand this. Let's discuss the only 4 places you'll get money to fund your deals. There's only 4 places you can get money to fund deals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's the bank. Number 1 are the banks. Number 2 is hard money. Number 3 is private money. And number 4 is your buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's touch on each of these real quick. Okay? So the banks actually want you to think that they're the only place to find money. And because of this false idea, they actually believe that because they're the only place to get money, that their money is senior to everyone else's and feel like they control it all. So they come up with all these conservative rules. Like, if you tell us your bra size and, how much you weigh and all your little secrets. Are you cheating on your wife? I mean, they want to know all these weird things that have nothing. They want to know your lifestyle. They want to know, what kind of character are you to pay them back.
Yep.
Right? Number 2, the hard money. Hard money is supposed to be investors with their own dough lending to strangers and actually lend on the structure of the deal, not the investor's past. Or in some cases, the investor's colorful past.
Yeah.
Right? But nowadays, these unscrupulous cats are actually bankers in disguise looking to get fees that they can't get at the bank's front door. So basically, the difference between a bank and a hard money lender these days is the points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, points is a funny word because let me describe points. Points, in a short definition, is interest without time. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Interest without time. See, when you charge interest, you have to use the money. So it's APR, annual percentage rating. So when somebody lends you a mortgage, like $200,000, they have to wait 30 or 45 days before the banking industry says they can collect their interest. AKA, the borrower has to use the money before they can collect interest. The reason why they do that is because it's borderline criminal of getting nothing for nothing. Okay? Points takes the time out. You don't have to wait the 45 days. Points are, give me 3% right now just for initiating the loan.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't need to go the 30 or 45 days. They can do it now.
Yeah.
So points is interest without time. So if they say they want 3 points, that means they want 3% interest, and they're going to do it before you get the loan. So if you're going to borrow $100,000 and you got a 3-point loan, that means they're only giving you $97,000. They're going to give you $97,000 in cash, but they're going to write the note for $100, and they're going to charge you interest on $100. Everything is going to be on $100. So if they foreclose or anything like that, it's on $100, not on $97,000.
Right, and they already got the 3% up front in their pocket. They didn't have to wait for that part.
Right.
Okay.
So points is interest without time. That's very important to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is why I say hard money lenders are on the outside of the bank's front door, not on the inside, because the banks have trouble with the commission, banking laws and stuff like that. They don't want to ruin their stuffy conservative type name that they're senior than everybody else and they would never do anything like that. But yet they go out the back door with the money, with the bag of dough when nobody's looking at them, just like politicians, and they lend the money for, 4 points and 15% interest. Where the people walking in the front door can't see that. Mm. Okay, and I know I'm being harsh, but it is true. It is how it's become. Right? I mean, I know a guy in Middletown, Connecticut that him and his dad owned 250 doors. Right? They had plenty of dough. The dad was all set. They had a great operation. He actually owned an insurance company. Okay? I technically convinced him to be a private money lender. He lent me money on one deal, and then next thing I know, I'm like, dude, how much money you want to spend? And he told me, I'm like, I could keep that money active. He had $1 million. I said, I can keep that money active just in my coaching group. And I can make sure that the deals are done right, and you'll be safe.
Yep.
Instead, what he did is he went to a bank, and the bank matched $1 million, so now he had $2 million to lend. And because they went to the bank, they hired some banking dude, and he was running the portfolio, and all of a sudden, all the things that I'm talking about happened. There were points, they had to do credit checks, they had to do this, they had to do that. I borrowed money from him once because the second time around, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't waste my time with them. Okay? So enough on private, on
hard money.
Hard money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so number 3, private lenders are people you likely know who have access to a bundle of dough stashed in the mattress. Okay? And what I mean by that is they could have lots of equity in another piece of real estate. They can have retirement accounts like IRAs. I mean, I know 40-year-old people, or low 40s, mid 40s, that worked for big companies, big pharma for, 15, 20 years, 10 years, whatever, and have $500,000 IRAs.
Yep.
Right? I mean, I have relatives that worked for those type of companies and have $1 million in an IRA. Mm-hmm. But they can't use that IRA until they're 59 and a half. Mm-hmm. Right? Without some sort of tax consequence. Right?
Yeah.
So they have that's having dough stashed under the mattress, man. Right?
Yeah, especially the IRAs where they can't use it.
Yeah.
It behooves them to find ways to maximize the profit potential in there.
To make it grow, yeah. Because right now they're just letting the funds be managed by. They don't even know that they're being managed. They just put the money in there, and some fund manager is investing in mutual funds or whatever at a lower risk and not very and a lower interest amount, right?
Yeah.
Credit cards with high limits and low balances.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge one. I have a friend of mine. You know him, Steve. Last time I knew, he had $120,000 in credit card limits. No, I'm sorry, $300,000 in credit card limits.
Oh, geez.
Like $300,000 in credit card limits. And he manipulates them to be interest free. So if you have someone that has a credit card, like you can go with Chase right now and get an 18-month credit card, they can give you a 1-year loan, get 0% financing, and charge you 7 or 9%, and pick up the difference while you go do a rehab and flip a house.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
How about trust funds? I know a guy that I have cigars with. He's a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like $10 million in a trust fund.
Believe it, the Bosch company, washing machine, spark plugs, Bosch.
Yeah.
Well, there's several brothers, but the daughter used to come to my house and hang around. She was adopted, lovely kid, but not a business person. She didn't even know she was a trust person. So she's now 28 or not 30, whatever. She's got money, but she probably doesn't even know what to do with it. She didn't know she was having one coming to her until people asked. So if there's somebody that didn't even know they had the money, that's how crazy it can be.
So you have a lot of friends and relatives that have this kind of money. I mean, it's amazing business owners that are doing really well. I mean, COVID, there was a lot of business owners that did extremely well. They doubled, tripled their income.
Yeah, like half really lose and half really win. It's almost
Yeah.
anything goes. It's so weird, but it happens.
You
On
know,
the right side of the scale.
People inherit houses, probate people. I've got a couple. I mean, my mother-in-law just passed away. I'm curious to know what's even involved.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's an influx of money. What do they do with it? Right? So the point is these are private lenders. They're not in the business of lending their money, but they got a chunk of dough and they want and you come along and convince them that you can give them a good rate of return and it's really safe. So these lenders often believe in you and don't know much about how the deal works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they're investing in you, much different than the hard money lender. The hard money lender doesn't know you.
Right.
Right. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that because I'm going to cover that in a few minutes. So number 4. So let me just back up because it's on my mind. So the private lender is going to give you money and you can stretch like I do with my guys, I can stretch my numbers. Maybe I'm at 78% loan to value ratio instead of the 70% or 65% they want. Mm-hmm. That's because they're investing in me. I mean, I have a private lender. I've done literally millions. I would probably say $10 million worth of real estate or more.
Really?
I would say.
Yeah,
maybe
cool.
15 million. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same money we keep using over and over again.
Yeah.
He didn't have $15 million. We're only using, I think, maybe $300,000 or $400,000, and we just keep turning it over and over and over again.
Yeah. I've run across him at the lawyer's office signing papers.
Yeah.
It just keeps round in circles, round and round. And he doesn't want the money. He wants the profit coming out of the interest coming out of it.
He wants it working, right?
People waking.
So that's much different. So he's lending me the money. One time he called me and he's like, "Hey, Bill, I got an embarrassing question." I said, "What's that?" He said, "How many properties we own together? And what are the addresses?" He didn't even know, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like a hard money lender is lending on the asset, supposedly lending on the asset and not lending you the money. Okay, we're going to get over that. We're going to go over that in a minute. So number 4, the 4 people. So far we've covered the bank, we've covered the private lender, we've covered the bank, the hard money lender, the private lender. Now we're doing the buyer.
Yeah.
Right. So this is your typical lease option deal when you're selling. The buyer's deposits, when they come into the house, their monthly payments and the mortgage, once qualified, actually fund your deal. Right? The money now, money monthly, money later funds your deal. Mm-hmm. And I strongly suggest you just do these deals in the beginning. Get used to doing these deals. Don't put your name on a loan and be responsible for it if you don't know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Right? The only way to lose money in a real estate transaction is A, to put money in, or B, personally sign for a loan. It's the only way you lose money in real estate. Right? Mm-hmm. So get your seller to agree to paying monthly so you can find a buyer to assign all the maintenance and repairs plus the expenses and make your few coins from matchmaking these motivated folks, right?
Yep.
So you find a seller that's motivated, you find a buyer that's motivated, you do some matchmaking, and you get a few coins for helping each one of them, right? Now listen up. Here's the psychology your lenders go through before lending money to anyone, not just you.
Lender psychology.
Number 1, they want to know their money's going to be safe and returned back to them without worry or loss.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Worry, because they don't want to worry, huh?
Right. I mean, you just had a seller with that 6-family we were buying, right? You got through to him, which was a good spot on your part.
Yeah.
He was worried.
Yeah. And he's got nothing to be worried about, but he's just a worrier type person.
And I sent him a contract, and he signed it and sent it back to me. And I told him I would give him my lawyer's name. Well, with all this stuff going on with my mother-in-law's, it slipped my mind. He texted me last night. He was worried. He's like, hey, I sent the contract, I signed the contract, but I don't have your lawyer's name. He was worried.
Yeah.
Like, he's waiting for the deal to go sideways. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. Here's what's going on. He goes, oh, okay. Send his condolences. But like 20 minutes later, I got to my computer and I sent him the data. So I don't know how I can emphasize this, Peter, but the number one thing that I think blows up deals, other than realtors and attorneys, okay, because they're the number one things that blow up deals. But after that, it's sudden movement in a deal. It's surprises. People don't want to be surprised. That's what they're nervous about.
Yeah,
they
they're waiting for
don't
the
want
shoe
to be surprised.
They're waiting for the shoe to drop.
Right. And here's a big fat secret that's right under your nose.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Everything I teach you and others about buying houses from sellers creatively is apropos or 100% in play when you're talking to your guy that's going to fund the deal. Because my entire system, which is called creative real estate, is trying to get your seller to fund you first. So everything I teach you and all the sayings and all the words and all the language and the scripts, they all work for your money guy too, because when you're in the house, the first thing you're going to do is ask your seller to fund you, or wait until you can get funding from your buyer. If that doesn't work, you then move on to the private lender, but it's the same pitch, it's the same conversation, it's the same everything we talk about. It's the confidence and the organized words. It's all the same. So if your seller's not willing to do it and your private lender's not willing to do it, then you have to start thinking, is this a good deal? Should I be doing this?
Yeah, so it's either not a good deal or you're really bad at explaining it and communicating.
Yeah. So the first thing your finance private money person, your finance guy wants to know is they want to know that your money's going to be that their money's going to be safe and returned to them whole. So if they lend you $150,000, they want to make sure they're going to at least get their $150,000 back, and it's not going to chop into their capital. Then number two, once they feel good and know their cash is going to be safe, they move into the process of thinking about the risk. Right. But I've never covered this before, so pay attention because this is very, very crucial. Right? So the questions they're going to ask is, are you paying too much? How likely will it be for you to have the horsepower to get through the deal? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many parents know their kids and know that they don't finish it? They jump from job to job, and it's always, it's always the boss's fault, or there was another guy, and they know that it's them, but they blame everybody else. Right? So it's kind of like, I did a write-up. I was trying to remember. I did a whole write-up one time of an example of this, of a mother. I can't remember. A mother giving a kid a toy or something. I had a whole write-up. I don't remember what it was, but so are you paying too much? So the private lender may or may not know that, but they are going to look at, do you have the horsepower to get it done?
Yeah.
Then they're going to think about, what's the market like? Is it an appreciating market or a depreciating market? Right? is it high risk or is it a lay down? Like right now in Connecticut, which it's changing as we speak. The last couple of weeks I've noticed it started to change.
Really?
Yeah, it's starting to dip because things aren't moving as quick as they were before. I mean, look what we're going through with this 3-family we're trying to sell. That's a perfect example. I mean, everybody's talking about how all this New York money's coming in and throwing all the money around. Well, it ain't happening for us. Mm-hmm. Right? So...
Yeah, I noticed more deals seem to be coming in.
Yeah.
But you're right on the other end.
Yeah.
Boy, it's a balance.
Yeah.
You can't get both ends working at the same time almost.
So... they're weighing this up, right? So they're trying to get some analysis of the peripheral parts of the deal. Like the outer edges of the deal, because they haven't studied about the deal like you had. They're just trying to get a feel for, like, if I throw my money in this pond of water, are there piranhas in there or are there no fish in there? Mm-hmm. Like, what's going to happen to my money? So it's all in the name of how safe is their cash, right? And they're looking for the pitfalls or hiccups in the deal that will jeopardize the chances of the capital not returning to them.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm not going to give you, like I normally do, scripted words, which, by the way, Peter, if you really want to do this, then I can get you into the portal for the private money. I mean, I have a whole training on it, and I can give you that portal, right? Mm-hmm. So here's my point. The psychology I just went through with you is what your lender is going to be thinking. So wouldn't it make sense that when you're talking to them, these are the things you're talking about?
Yeah.
You're not talking about the deal. I mean, you are going to talk about the deal, but you're going to talk about its surroundings too. It's like Hansel and Gretel building their log cabin in the woods. Are they going to build it on a cliff and hope the cliff doesn't fall down? Are they going to build it on top of a mountain that's full of hurricanes? Or are they going to build it, down in a nice, safe place where there's nice, strong trees that aren't going to fall onto their cabin?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, what's the environment like around this deal? Because those things could be heard on Channel 3 or Channel 8 or Fox News or CNN or whatever you listen to. Those things could be heard, even though most of the time they're false, they can still be heard by your lender that are going on. The housing market's up, the housing market's down. The stock market is up, stock market's down. Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it doesn't even matter if it's really true. If everybody believes it, they're going to function that way and act that way and say yes or no because they believe it. And now it's true. Now they just made it true.
Now watch this. I've never talked about this either. So number 3, once they feel confident the deal is good enough to protect their dough. In other words, the environment's good. They feel like they're in at a low enough, rate. Like the house, like I said, it's a $270,000 house. I mean, my lender that I pulled the money from this, the first thing he said to me is, send me the address. He wants to check my comps.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling him it's worth $265 or $270, which, by the way, I think it's worth more than that. But there was no conversation after that. Because he went on Zillow and it was like, oh wow, I'm really safe on this. So we're going to get to that in a minute, but he's really safe. Number 3, once they feel confident the deal is good enough to protect their dough, they move into thinking about you. See, this is a private lender now, and a hard money lender is going to do this, aka background checks and credit reports. Except the credit report is pretty misinforming because it doesn't it tells supposedly your character by your past, but it doesn't tell the story of, like, I was not an essential worker in COVID and lost my job.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they're at this point, see, they're trying to convince. So they're convinced now that the property is a safe place to park their dough. Now they're looking at you and how confident are these lenders in you pulling the deal off?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because they know if they don't, they can step in and sell the property and get the original capital back.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's so far below market that somebody would love to grab it. Another investor, an end user, somebody at that price.
That's what's going to happen, right? So once they measure that in their mind, they can now put a number to their risk. 7%, 9%, 12%, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you do like I do, I don't give them the choice. Right? I tell them this is what I normally do.
Yep.
Here's
Your rate
how it
is
works.
X. Your rate is.
And if they feel comfortable with it, well, we'll put them in my deal.
Yeah, I like the way you say that you'll let them in your deal, right? You'll let them, because they're not doing, oh, please can I have some money? They're not doing you a favor because someone else will do it. They're making money. So you're helping them too.
So you have to, if you're having trouble with money, you have to have this mind shift right now. That you know how to find really good deals. All your education, all your listening to me and you and buying courses and all this stuff someday is going to work. and if you get a good deal, a smoking hot deal, you're one of the few. Right? So the fact that you still there? Because it looked like
we just froze for a second. We're back. Yeah, we just had a dip.
So you have a hot deal, and they're fortunate enough to know you and be part of that deal. You have to have that mind shift.
Yeah.
Because see, here's what happens. The money guys often don't know real estate, or they think they know real estate from the conservative side of go on the MLS and just pay cash for it. Mm-hmm. There's very few, in fact, I don't think I've ever met an investor other than guys I've trained myself, with my coaching, that are actual money guys that understand creative real estate. Mm. I mean, I had a call this call that I was talking about, the first question that I was talking about this guy that has this house in the pretty neighborhood, and I told him to just go list it himself. He's got me on the phone with his realtor, who is his partner, or was his partner, right? Yeah. And the first thing the realtor said to me was, we're doing creative real estate because you don't have the money? And I'm like, who said that? He said, well, I just assumed that. Well, assume spells you make an ass out of you and me. That's what assume is when you look at the word ass out of you and me, right?
That's right.
So he's like, okay. I'm like, let me start this conversation off correctly. The reason why I'm a creative real estate investor is because I don't want to peak my lending power. So if I can get my sellers to fund me, or if I can get multiple private lenders to fund me, it doesn't stop me, or doesn't have a ceiling of me buying. And he was like, oh, well, yeah. And he was fine after that. But most of my coaching clients, and perhaps you at some point, would fold under that. You would fold. Like, you don't have enough money? You know what? The answer could be, yeah, I don't have enough money. But I know how to do it. Mm-hmm. Right? Because what most students don't understand is that the money guys need you more than you need them.
Mm-hmm. Because if they know how to do it, they'd be doing this and making more money. They don't know how to make the money. They give the money to somebody, invest it for me, give me a rate of return, and they cross their fingers. Right. Somebody I know, one of my students, but it's a big business guy, just dumped all his stock 3-4 weeks ago. He got nervous in the stock market. Dumped all his stock. He didn't have confidence in it. Now he does have money, so I started the conversation a little bit. But he is looking for real estate on his own. He's done a little bit. But, people are in that situation too. They dump something because they don't trust it. So they want to have something that they trust.
So you and I have been taught by a very smart individual that we're not going to talk about right now that money is backed by confidence.
Yes.
So what that means is if somebody gives you, like last night, a guy at the cigar shop owed me $20. So he gave me a $20 bill. Why would I accept that $20 bill?
I don't know. It's just a piece of paper. Why did you?
Right. Because I know I have confidence that I can bring that $20 bill anywhere I want and get what I want, as long as the exchange is a $20 exchange or a $50 exchange or whatever.
Yeah, because they're also confident in it.
Right. So money's backed by confidence. So if you're not getting money and you're having trouble funding your deals, you're not building confidence.
Right. But
the money doesn't come to you until it's confident that it's going to. Money has no conscience.
No.
The people that control it have the conscience. So if the people that control the money have confidence that they can give you their money and you can make it grow while under your watch, or you got a deal that's so smoking hot that if you don't perform, they could take the deal and go sell it, then money isn't the problem.
And make more money even.
Right.
Yeah. But I think the confidence is so important. I think that's in anything and everything we do dealing with business. From the time you walk into a company to do an interview, you want to make them confident that you can do the job. Somebody calls me even for a music lesson. They're confident that I can do the job. They see my website. Boy, you look like you know what you're doing. It's confidence all the way around.
Look at this. We went out to dinner with our wives a couple weeks ago, which I want to do again. Okay?
Yes.
And we spent. You paid the bill. How much was it?
It's $250.
$250
with the tip.
We sat there for what? 3 hours?
Almost. Well, counting waiting outside in the cold weather, yeah.
So 3 hours we were in that restaurant, and they brought us anything we asked for.
Mm-hmm.
With the confidence of knowing that we were going to pay them before we leave. We could have got up and walked out and not paid.
Yeah.
In that restaurant, we could have got all the way to the car and nobody would even notice we were gone.
Yeah, one at a time. We sent the girls to the bathroom, then you go to smoke, and I go to the bar, and then we all run. Yeah.
Right. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's possible. I mean, I remember the 70s show, the 70s show one time, they did that. They called it, what did they call it? Dinner Dashing or something. They had a name for it, right? It was a whole episode, right?
Yeah.
They had confidence that we were going to pay them before we leave.
Yep.
So confidence is a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, the magic here is not the money. The magic is to negotiate with the seller so it attracts the greed glands of your lender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So in other words, the lender salivates like a dog does when he wants to get a bone, right? Salivates to get into such a good deal, hoping you default so they can rob the property from you and make, like you just said a minute ago, make more money selling the property than if they were going to actually make with you paying them interest.
So either way, they win.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes the risk out. It's confidence.
Yep.
They have confidence that their money's safe, right? Truth is, if you don't strike a deal like this, well then, you can't give your seller cash at the closing. Right? So if your seller is saying, I want cash, it has to be one of these bargain prices.
Yeah.
If not, then don't bring cash. Right? See, here's why sellers want cash. Do you know why sellers want cash?
Because they can. Why?
I just told you.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah, they're. Oh yeah, like we've talked to people like, hey, would you take take some money back on the deal? Oh no, I don't want to. And they're worried about it. Like this guy with the Six family talking. Oh no, he's worried about it. 10%, 20%. Oh no, just worried. Just too nervous Nelly.
So if you're looking to do deals with sellers and you're in the presentation, the part where I talk about you got to build confidence is really important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because technically they're lending you $200,000. They're giving you the property. They're giving you either use of the property, control of the property, or the deed.
Yeah.
And they're out of it. They're relinquishing their responsibility.
Yeah. And they're counting on you to take care of their asset and not screw them up.
And they don't even know you.
Yeah. Well, this reminds you a little bit like when we buy a property. First thing we do is look if the numbers on the property are okay. And then we see the seller if they're qualified to be motivated. So we're still checking the two factors of the physical property and the people involved if they fit what we're looking for. So on a private money thing, they're going to look, is the property, the numbers safe physically, and then confidence in us that we qualify personally. It seems like the same thing reversed, the way you're explaining it, making me look at it that way.
Which is why they ask you, how are you going to make your money? Because they want to make sure you're making money so you stay in the deal. They want that hook. So if they're going to lend you money, if they're going to let you have their house so you can make money, they want to know how you're going to make money so you'll stay in the deal. Subconsciously, they want to know that.
Yeah.
Peter, you won't give me a real number, but give me an indication of how many times you and I had deals and I tell you, I don't like that guy, I'm not doing the deal.
Right. Yeah, a dozen. And that's just the ones I know about, not the ones you don't tell me about. Yeah,
Right.
you just, if it's just a cash deal, you buy it and the guy's gone, it doesn't matter. But when you're staying in the deal with somebody, it's like having tenants. I have some I like, some I don't like, and, yeah. You have to stay with somebody for a year or two.
It's no different in my coaching group. Why do you think that people ask me, I get asked probably 30% of the time, how do I sign up online? I'm like, it isn't online. You have to physically speak to me for at least 45 minutes. You got to go through some sort of an interview, and I got to size you up to see if you're a fit for the group.
Yeah.
And the reason why my coaching group is so successful is because I'm not after the money. I put good people into the group that I believe will A, bring something to the group, and B, get something out of the group.
Yeah.
Not just in there just taking while everybody else is giving.
Yep.
It can't be that way. I have to have confidence. So it's got to be that way with your deals too, right? So you tell their seller if they want that much for their house, they have to give you terms or time to pay. If they're not willing to give you a discount and they want too much for their house or they want full asking price, that's totally fine, but you got to give them terms.
Yeah.
You can't give them cash. It's the only way to do the deal. Right?
Yep.
Money guys are not stupid. Most of them, right? They park their money in safe places. It's up to you to find those safe places for them to park it. Then tell the lender about it. So the money guys are not stupid. They park their money in safe places. It's up to you to find those deals for them to park that money at. And then go tell them about it. Right?
Yep.
By the way, the only and best way to find lenders is to find one of these deals and start talking about it or bragging about it, about the deal. That's the pre-screening I was talking about earlier. You start talking about this deal, right? And those people with hidden money or chunks of dough will crawl out of the woodwork trying to get into your deal. That's how you find private money. You let them into your deal. Right? Because if they don't, somebody will. If you buy the deal right.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the reason why I always say this is my law that I live by with money. I mean, with funding my deals. Right? This is the law. Deals find money. Money doesn't find deals. Deals find money. Money doesn't find deals.
Right.
Most newbie investors think that money finds the deals and have a hard time raising capital with it. It's because they're doing it backwards and don't even know it. Right? And I know this, Peter, because I do my meetup. I do all these things. I mean, tonight I'm going to do a meetup. There will be 50 or 60 people on that meetup. Right? I'll start doing 45-minute consultations. I do dozens of those a month. So I talk to investors one-on-one all over the country for at least 45 minutes. Sometimes I'll go an hour and a half if I feel like I need to help them. Right?
Yeah.
I donate this time. Okay? I can do this because I make enough money in my real estate business. Right? So I hear probably 20% of the time, all I need, if I had the money, I could make a ton of dough. And I know right away they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? If they just reverse it and find deals to talk about, they'll do a much better job of catching big dough. Right? This is why I say I have to have organized words to help you with this. Right? So let me give you an example. These are just organized words and not organized words. So number one, not organized.
Oh.
I'm a new real estate investor and want to invest, and I want you to invest in my deals. Would you be interested?
Flunk.
Or two, I have a $270,000 house I just bought for $125,000, and I'm now looking for someone to lend me $140,000 at 9% interest. So if you know anybody, let me know. You're not asking them. You're asking if they know anyone.
Yeah.
So let me give that to you again. And this is, by the way, this is the deal that I'm closing on tomorrow. This is the exact deal. Okay?
Yeah.
So I have a $270,000 house I just bought for $125,000. And I'm looking for someone to lend me $140,000 at 9% interest. You don't know anybody, do you? See the difference?
Absolutely. In the first place, you're not even asking them. In the second place, you're not being needy. So looking for 140,000. How did that end? I'm writing this. Looking for 140,000 to borrow, to lend.
I have a $270,000 house I just bought for $125,000.
Yep.
And I'm looking for someone to lend me $140,000 at 9% interest.
Okay.
You wouldn't know anybody, would you?
Yep.
That's like the chiropractor shaking somebody's hand and saying, "How you feeling today?"
Yeah. Yep. And even the pullback or reverse, you wouldn't know anybody, would you? Just even
Say it
that.
again?
Even the part, you wouldn't know anybody, would you?
Yeah.
It's like, just pulling back and not being needy, like just, you wouldn't know anybody, would you?
Right.
No, well, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So in my mind, the issue with private lenders and students finding money has nothing to do with the deals and the money. It has everything to do with they're doing it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Remember last week we talked about be, do, have?
Exactly.
Right? They're trying to have before they do, and they're trying to they're trying to do before they be.
Yeah.
So they're trying to have before they do, and they're trying to do before they be.
Right, but life doesn't work like that. You wake up in the morning, you walk outside, you got nothing. You got to start doing to get something. Hunt, gather, build. That's life.
But listen. I want to do this again. I got what you're saying, but I interrupted my flow, so I want to say it again. So
all right, sorry.
You're fine. So you have to do to have.
Yeah.
And you have to be to do.
Yeah.
So the beingness or the be part is the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to be confident.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be certain. You have to have horsepower to get this thing done.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to feel that. You know, like, ever walk into a room where two people have been arguing and they stop talking and you're like, whoa, what's all that energy? Right? You think that your being, however your being, doesn't emanate into that other person's universe?
No, you can feel it walking in the room, of course.
Right? So, what's the definition of perception? Perception is a communication through the senses. Right? So, if you feel it, don't invalidate it. It must be true. Now, obviously, you can't go around making shit up. I feel like he was angry when he wasn't really angry. I mean, if there's an instinctual type of a feeling and it's energy, it's electricity, it's energy, because we all receive it and give it. We're like our own little generators, right? We receive it and get it. We're like our own little electrical plants, right? It's either you give off good energy or you give off bad energy. Well, you know what? You give off fear energy too. You give off anxiety. I mean, I had a point where this, you know, my poor wife going through this hassle with her mom.
Yeah.
I mean, there were several times where I either asked her to leave the room or I left the room, especially when she's talking to one of her sisters. Her sister is one of the most anxious people I know. She was on the phone with her, and I could feel it coming through the phone. I couldn't hear I could just hear a muffle a little bit. I could feel the energy like it was a bolt. It was like a stampede of wild animals running through the phone and hitting me. She's like, and just the intensity. And I wasn't even talking to her. I was across the room, sitting on the couch.
Jeez.
And I could feel it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've all been there.
So you receive it and you give it. You're like your own little radio station. These waves are all around you. So if you're not being confident and you're not certain of your own deal, who is going to be?
So if I can add a little bit, like, you want to be confident, have confidence in your deal. And I'm also thinking, like, you want to feel, I am very knowledgeable on creative real estate deals. I'm so knowledgeable. I know how to make money out of thin air. I know how to optimize the money. I know how to make you safe. Just to have that feeling in your head. I know how to do this. I know stuff. I've talked to people. They go, really? You can do that? Oh, yeah. Like, holy cow, I didn't know you could do that. So we all are learning from you and whatever else we can how to do these things. So you should have that as part of who you are, that you're the person who knows how to do this. And not a lot of people do. I've been in houses, even years ago, trying to help somebody sell the house. Turns out the person was a realtor. And another realtor student of yours had me go over to talk to this person, and they were a realtor. And like, who the hell am I? But they were listening to me. It's almost like, oh my God, don't screw this up. Look, you know, I just like, well, and I did it, you know, and I did know what I was talking about. Enough to at least guide them the right way. So we are learning that. So be that person.
So Desiree says vibes don't lie.
Yeah.
Right. So back to your point, Peter. I want to make sure that that message is not received incorrectly. I don't want you to fake it till you make it.
No.
I don't want you to say, or I don't want you to like convince yourself like rah, like I'm going to be a creative real estate investor. That's not what I want you to do.
No, and I'm talking about what you really do know, not faking it, what we really do know. And it's not everything. You don't have to know everything. You have to be perfect. You know enough, we know enough to be good enough. You know, it's enough.
So here's what I do. What I do is I convince myself, not I convince, let me rephrase this. I'll tell you exactly why I'm called arrogant and pompous. By my own mother, by the way.
Hey, Bill, she should know.
I'm going to tell you the exact reason why, because there's an exact reason why.
What?
And I hope I could teach this to you and everybody else, and you could do the same.
Yeah.
You ready? It's simple.
Ready.
I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. I'm very clear about that.
Okay, I get the
Very
first
clear
half
about
of that, but how do you know what you don't know? Because you don't know what you don't know sometimes. How do you do that part?
Right. So that's where I go from the beingness into the doingness. Well, I've never done that before. I'm willing to try. You know, like the seller, like for example, a seller says it needs a septic system.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? I've never done that before. I don't know that. I'm not, and what I measure what I know and don't know by is what I've done.
Yeah.
So if I've done it and I have some experience or I have some practical way of doing it, and I'm not even saying the way I did it is correct, but at least my knowingness is I've done it.
Yeah.
I have experience with it. Right? Now, everybody here listening, especially my private coaching clients, have a tremendous advantage because they could say, you know, I don't know, but my partner or my mentor, however you refer to me, has done that. Let me go talk to him.
Yeah.
For example, the house I was in on Sunday or Monday, it needs a septic system. So I'm doing a deal with a coaching client. So I said to her, the seller, I'm going to go back and talk to my guy, my partner.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to go do some research on the septic system. I think they're $35,000 and it kind of like doesn't make the deal. We need to go find out because I don't know.
Sure.
Right? And so knowing and not knowing is simple because have you done it or have you observed somebody else do it? Right? That's the magic of books. Right? If I had to go off and do everything that I'm teaching you guys myself and learn my lessons, it would take me 5 lifetimes.
Right.
The fact that I could read a book and get somebody else's experience and then just try it once to verify that he's correct or she's correct is miraculous in this world. That's why reading is such a beautiful thing, because you get other people's experiences and viewpoints and ways they've done things. And you absorb that experience instantaneously.
That's the entire premise of education. Somebody spent his whole life learning something, and you read about it in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works.
Right.
A whole lifetime in a few hours.
Right.
But so I've heard you do this before. That's why I want to ask, like, what you don't know. So I've seen you maybe say it differently, that you just go find out. And educationally, if somebody ever asks me a question that I don't know, I am bound by my instructor's code to say, I don't have the answer. I'll go find out and let you know. So
let me back up that statement with this. So I built the engine, and I'm going to put gasoline in it.
Okay.
So I know what I know, and I know what I don't know based on my experience. Then I do the most powerful thing known to mankind. My next step. I don't concentrate on anything else. Like, if I got to go find out about the septic system, first thing I might want to do is find someone to talk to.
Right.
Qualify them. Then actually have the conversation with them. There's 3 steps.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I want to lose 50 pounds. That's a great goal. Right? Ben Settle says this in his Villains book. If I want to lose, what you should go buy, Persuasion, something, I forgot. Just go look at Ben Settle, you'll find him. Settle. Ben Settle. He's a great author. Go look at some of his books. He actually writes fiction too. So, yeah. He says in his books, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Well, you're back to what you do know, what you don't know, and you're going to put gasoline in the engine.
Do your next step.
Oh, yeah, you can lose 50 pounds?
Yeah, so that's right, thank you. So he says in his book, don't have the goal of losing 50 pounds. Have the goal of, I got to get to the gym. Or, I got to stop buying Cheerios.
Yeah.
Or, I got to clean out the cabinets of all the carbohydrates and just put protein in here. You know, like, that's a doable step. I remember when I was being coached, I had a coach, his name was one of the coaches was Dan Duran, and another coach was Willie Hooks, who Willie Hooks trained a lot of basketball players and stuff like that. And this was way back in the day. And the thing that I remember all these years later is your goal should be stretchingly realistic. So you're making $5 now. Don't say you want to make $100. Say, I want to make $8.
Yeah.
Or $9. It's stretchingly realistic. It's like above what you're doing, so you're going to have to change something. But it's not too far where it's going to like collapse you and have you lose your purpose or have a failed purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Then you get
So
nothing.
you want to make your goal stretchingly realistic. So I don't know how we got off in that conversation, but here we go. All right. So I feel like my arrogance and my pompous comes from I know what I know because I've experienced it and I've got stories. I tell you guys those stories all the time. Or if I don't know something, like if I'm gonna, like right now I'm having trouble with my back. God knows why I'm having trouble with my back. I don't know anything about that stuff. So I lip around and I'm doing some stuff that I shouldn't be doing. And my wife is like, you need to go to the chiropractor. And she's like, she's right. Because the chiropractor knows what I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just draw the line. It's like, okay. All right, so with that said, let's close out. I'm sorry to say that I would like to give you guys a bunch of sentences and all these things. I mean, I've given you some. I've given you the key one to at least pre-qualify someone. But I think that would take us an all-day seminar to do. So I created a course called Scientific Secrets to Find Private Money. And it's a super, super cheap package. I think it's like $37 or something like that. It's not much money, right? And you literally get it for pennies on the dollar. I mean, I was going to give you a coupon code, and it's not. If you don't want to pay the cheap money, then you're not in. So if you just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/private money talk. That's flippinghousesforrookies.com/private money talk. You can see how much this little hidden bundle cost, and it's buried under my website for a reason because I'm not in the private money lending teaching business. It's just that I put it together based on what I do. If you just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, you can click on courses too. Click on the courses button on the top right hand side and it'll bring you there. Or you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, private money talk. If I remember right, Peter, I actually have a presentation in there. I have, an actual PowerPoint presentation that we made. I have a forms on if you do a little. We used to do. I don't do it now, but we used to do little workshops in the library. We used to send people flyers. There's a credibility kit that you can give a lender of what you do. All that stuff is in there somewhere. So there's a lot more than what we're talking about today. Today I just wanted to talk about the basics. So did I fulfill my promise today, Peter?
Yes, sir. I like the one sentence you gave at the end there. I like that. That's a great starting point.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good start.
What's the sentence?
Well, I have a $275,000 house I just bought for $125,000, and I'm looking for someone to lend me $140,000 at 9%. You wouldn't know anybody, would you?
Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, some of the problem in communication is like, how do I damn start this thing? So,
right.
At least you have a starting point. You have a conversation. If you start it wrong, you're on the wrong track. So that was good.
Right. Yeah, it's a good thing to do because, and here's the thing that I probably should have said and I didn't. Don't vomit after that. Like.
Well, I wasn't planning on it. You mean people getting nervous?
No, I mean, like getting into all the details of the deal.
Oh, yeah.
Just tell them you'll send them something. Well, if you're interested, give me your email. I'll send you something.
Well, if nothing else, just ask them what they want to know. Don't just throw everything at them. Just what they need to know.
Yeah. So It's acceptance level. What are they willing to accept? They don't need to know all the if they do, they'll ask you. Yeah. And another thing I'd like to say in ending off here, I don't know if I've ever said this before, but it's definitely what I believe. It's so easy for human beings to open their mouth and flap their lips. Once the words leave your lips, you can't take them back.
Yeah.
So if you want to practice talking to a private money lender, don't explain to them what you're going to do. Write them an email. So now instead of just talking to them verbally and just saying whatever comes to mind, put it in an email. So now you can get your organized words that are concise and full of confidence. Mm-hmm. Because now you have some time to organize those words before the lender receives them.
Right. He's not going to remember everything you say anyways. Put it in writing because it's easier to follow.
This has nothing to do with the lender. This has everything to do with you two-dimensionally working out what you should be saying and what you shouldn't be saying.
Okay.
Because you could work out how you're going to communicate to this person and read it and digest it and mull it over and take hours if you want to send that email. Right? And it will help you articulate what you want to say and how you want to say it.
Okay.
And then when you send the email, his or her response will tell you whether you did a good job or not.
Yeah.
Or his or her lack of response will tell you whether you did a good job or not.
Ouch. Yeah.
This is no different than sellers. I mean, as soon as I get off this call, that's the first thing I got to do. I have a guy I spoke to with a 3-family house yesterday that's willing to do. It's in Meriden. It's a 3-family house. He's willing to give it to me on a subject to deal. Mm-hmm. More or less. Mm-hmm. And I told him I would send him over an email that would explain the whole thing so he could talk to his wife.
Okay.
Right? So that's a good way to practice with your sellers too, is just send an email with all the details, and you have to summarize what you just talked about for 45 minutes. It's okay.
Yeah, my dog just got home.
Yeah. Right?
Honey, get the dog.
You have to summarize it.
Yeah.
So when you summarize it and you actually write it out in words, it's a good thing. Now here's another thing I teach my coaching clients. So once you get a script that you think you want to use, just read the script into a recording device and then just listen to it over and over and listen to it 5 million times until you brainwash yourself. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you'll start to notice without even trying, those words will come out of your mouth and you'll be like, I didn't even know I knew that. Mm. Right?
Yeah, preparation's good.
So, okay?
Yeah.
So with that said, Peter's got to go feed his dog. His wife's there to make him lunch. Something like this. I don't know. There's some kind of excitement over in Peter's
the
planet.
dog always barks.
Please go like us. Please leave a review. Go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. On the top right-hand side, there's a testimonial page. We have lots of testimonials. I like to see those testimonials. Go to iTunes, Stitchers, Google Play, wherever you listen to us, and leave us a review there. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you are, so that when we pop up like we do today on an odd day, that you're there and you're willing to listen to us. Okay? I hope we helped you today. I hope that you can go out and find some private money. And last thing I'd like to say before we knock off here is if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, top right-hand side, there's a contact button there. Those support tickets come right to me. So if you have any questions of anything that Peter and I talked about, or even about a deal or something that we've talked about in the past, shoot me a support ticket, and I'm on the other end. I answer them a few times a day, mostly 7 days a week, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Okay? Pete, thanks for being with us.
Of course.
And let's go get some of those deals done. Over and out. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.